agree. Which is
I
why I already
I
hit record.
I was gonna say I
Nailed
just
it.
want to. I just want to
We're
say
sick.
Yeah, this is the perfect time to start an intro.
I
right
agree.
here.
Do you want to?
No,
Like, how do you-
obviously,
well,
it doesn't even
let's transition into why we decided to do a podcast. I can start off by saying, Tyler and I have been wanting to do one for a while. There was a delay of basically 2 years because of COVID, and we were gonna do it in person. It didn't work out, so we didn't do it in person. Then life stuff happened. I had a child, and now we're revisiting.
It
And
has
our
been.
our friend Brett's with us.
It's been so long.
Hello?
I don't even remember the initial conversation.
I don't either. I think it was just let's do a podcast about gaming, and I was like, sure, down. I like gaming,
Hey, me too.
so
So with that, Daniel, I have known you a very, very long time. So I'm going to ask Brett this question instead.
Okay.
So I guess we can start with Brett. So like, what has led you to be a gamer today, and what games did you play at a young age that led you to the games that you play now?
Well, my first console was an N64. I feel like a lot of people had SNES or Atari. I didn't have those things. I had Nintendo 64, and there were 3 games, and I actually have those games with me that really are really kind of like my earliest memories of gaming.
does that show your
One of them,
age? Does that show our age at all?
I don't want to talk about that. I think it does. Yes. I was born in '94, so
Same.
yeah. So, but my first game, Banjo Kazooie.
Oh my god,
that
he
was
has
like-
it with him.
I told you I got.
You
I got
actually
visual
prepared.
aids. I
Did you
actually
buy those
prepared.
for the podcast, or did you find them?
No, these are actually the original N64 cartridges that I had when I was a kid. But just kept them. Never got rid of
Did you
them.
dig him up from a time capsule in your backyard?
No, actually, no. My brother has kept them, so I had to go grab them from him. But yeah, Banjo Kazooie was my first one. Obviously, Super Mario 64. I mean, of course,
Classic.
arguably the best game ever made. Personal opinion. It's just how I
I
feel
think some
about it.
people
And
would
then
agree.
probably, yeah, because it's still played today. Like it's still got a massive audience, mostly
Speed
because of speedrunning.
runs.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. But this one is probably this game is the last game that I have with me, and it's probably the most nearest and dearest to me. It's
Legend
called
of Zelda.
Robotron. No, near Robotron 64. And the reason why that's so near and dear to me, and why I think I got into gaming originally, was because this was the very first game I ever saw my dad play. And I was so like enamored by it. I just kept watching him. I would actually ask him if he could play it so I could watch him. I remember trying to play it. I was awful. I was terrible. And he would just get farther than me, so I would just watch him. And ever since then, it's everything else is history, you know. But yeah, N64, and then obviously there was like the PlayStation. That moved up to PS2. I didn't really play that as much, and then GameCube.
GameCube. I
GameCube
feel like
was,
is that a weird transition? Did GameCube come after PlayStation 2?
I don't know the timing actually. Possibly. I know it came after for sure. But I don't know. I think it came out in like 2003.
All I remember is every single console that I've ever played on after PlayStation 2 was at Eric's house. Like I would just go to his house because he lived right up the street from me at the time. And he was like the first one of our friend group, which I guess like Tyler, you technically weren't a part of that friend group, really. It was just you
Not
and
yet.
I that were friends, and then
And Zach.
and Zach, and then like everyone else was separate, and like, but it was like cut in half basically. But he was like the first one of like I guess my friend group that had an Xbox 360. He was, and I remember like Jesus, we played Dead Rising on release for hours. That game was so sick. I oh man, even just like I'm a sucker for any concept of a game where you play inside of like a mall. I don't know why, but that's like one of the that's like the coolest thing to me is mall gameplay of it
Is that
doesn't have to
because
be
of
like it doesn't have to be like post-apocalyptic or anything. It's just like in general. But
I'm so dumb. I thought you were meaning like playing the game in the mall.
no.
That
No.
that okay, because that just made me think about like going to the Walmart and seeing the games like up on the screen with like the controller, and you walked up to it and you can just play whatever you want. I don't even
Dude,
know if they have that
actually,
anymore.
you're kind of there I don't know if you guys ever went to this game store, but there was a game store called Game Crazy.
yeah, right by that gas station.
Yeah, it was over in Fenton,
Yep.
in the Bluffs. There was like a little like strip mall, I guess. Oh, so you might have to edit out the F word if I uh that's my fault. I think we need
All right.
10 minutes on YouTube. Anyways, yeah, so it was like a strip
Um,
mall right next to the gas station. It was attached to I think a family video, and they had a console on display that you could like hand them a game, like, hey, I want to try this, and they'll put the game in, and you could play it like right there in front. GameStop had something similar, but it was like they wouldn't switch the game out for you, which is that's what made like Game Crazy so sick to me. Is you just like, hey, I want to try this game, and then they'll pop out whatever's in there and put that game in, and you can play it. I don't think they're around anymore, but
No, they're gone. Another cool thing about Game Crazy though was for $2, like if your game ever gets jacked up, I remember that price for
yeah,
whatever
they
reason,
fix
but for
it.
$2, they would try to fix it or get you a new one.
They had what the hell was?
Really?
Yeah, they used.
That's
What
wild.
was it called? It was like Game Doctor or something.
I
It was
think
some
that's
like
what it was.
it was
Something
some like
that.
it looked like it was some like Beyblade looking thing where you would put in the disc into this like little saucer, and it would like
you know
I don't
what?
know, it was like some oil or something they put in, and then they spin the disc really quick, and it would like fill in the cuts and the scratches on the disc, and it would fix it. I don't know how. I'm
I
not
feel
a
like
mathematician, but
I think that's still around. I don't know. I don't know. If,
no,
I don't
that's
know for
not.
the listeners.
There's no way. Is it?
I feel like that's still around. Yeah, because there's a place by our local mall. It's called V Stock, and you can bring any disc that you have, and
Yeah.
you can bring it in there, and they'll do that for you.
I do remember V Stock. Yeah, but they also sell really old stuff.
They do. Yeah,
I bought
but
a
it's got a lot of cool
Game
stuff.
Game Boy Color game there recently because I bought a Game Boy SP for no reason, but to have one.
there you go.
Oh yeah, I had a game. Actually, did I have a Game Boy SP? I don't think I did.
That's the flip up one. It had the backlight.
Oh, yeah,
That's what made it
yeah.
revolutionary. Was that it had a backlight.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
could
I had
play in the darkness.
I had the Game Boy Advance where you had to like find the right amount of light because I used to
Mhm.
play it like on car rides and we didn't have the backlight like the SP, so you had to. There was an attachment you can plug into.
Yeah,
it,
it's
and
like a
it
little
had light.
flashlight.
Yeah,
Yep.
I didn't have that. Yeah, I didn't have that. So I had to like hold the screen perfectly in a perfect position to just see
Yeah.
anything that I was doing.
Yeah.
And that was a big
That's
part of my
peak
childhood as
gaming.
well. Oh yeah.
Well, that was like one of the hardest things too, because you know what? Like whenever you're younger, your mom's like, "Okay, time to go to bed. Turn the lights off." It's like, "Oh shit! Well, now I can't sit in
My
bed and play
weakness.
this."
Light bulbs.
Yeah. I think that shows our age because kids nowadays have like just. I mean, I don't want to say that they're spoiled, but they got everything.
They got Steam Decks.
They have Steam Decks now.
I don't
yeah.
have a Steam Deck.
Crazy.
All right,
I-
transitioning to. Do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Oh, go ahead.
All right,
We'll go from Brett to you to me. That's all right.
sounds good. Similar to Brett, my gaming, I guess, career was started with my dad as well. However, significantly different game. The first game I seen him play was Resident Evil, and I was like 3. And it was the coolest
3.
thing I've ever seen in my life. It's like I was 3, so I didn't have a very, short life. But Yeah, that was one of the coolest games. I still love the Resident Evil series to this day. I don't know if it's because of that. I just like the aspect of the puzzles and I mean it's not like a great story. It's also I had this conversation with someone at work the other day. It's like it's not necessarily a game series that's like meant to be taken seriously, but it's a very like serious game in a way, like it's post apocalyptic, you're saving the world, but it's also very like goofy. Like the most recent one with the Resident Evil 4 remake, you have Leon. Even back then, the original Resident Evil 4, you have Leon like roundhouse zombies and backflipping off of ladders and stuff. Like it's just goofy. Like, what's the point of that, you know? But it's still
Right.
like it's such a cool game. But yeah, so originally it was Resident Evil. That's what got me kind of hooked into games, and then after that was Metal Gear. I watched my dad play Metal Gear, the first one on PlayStation 1. Um, really, really sick game. I'm actually trying to remember timeline because I played Nintendo 64 and all that stuff as well. But yeah,
N64 was
you got
I'm
dates?
I'm double checking my dates right here.
Give me the dates. Actually, I might be
Nintendo
able to pull it up
64,
here as well.
1996 for Nintendo.
Nintendo 64.
PS1 was 1994. And then
Wait,
Brett's
what was?
GameCube was 2001.
Oh, it was 2001. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
PlayStation 2
Interesting.
was 2000.
So we were in first
Wow.
grade in 2001.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I got the Nintendo 64. Yeah, so 1996. Maybe I had a SNES as well, Super Nintendo Entertainment System. I had one of those as well. I never had the original. Wait, did I have what's the original Nintendo look like?
NES, it's like the square box with it's got like the red, yeah.
The Nashville Electric Service. That's not what I'm trying to look up.
It's the one on the right though. The one on the far right.
1983.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I did have one. No, I didn't have one. My neighbor had one at the time. And I would always go to his house. I don't remember their names, but yeah, I'd always go to his house and play that. And then we got a SNES. Yeah. And then after that, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. I remember we were super poor whenever I was younger, and the PlayStation 2 came out. And I was like, I want this, Dad. And he was like, could barely afford our house, so we're not getting that. But he took me to Blockbuster and surprised me by renting a PlayStation 2 because you used to be able to rent consoles, which you might still be able to, but Blockbuster's not around. So, yeah, so we rented a PlayStation 2 and he rented me the Batman game. And
Oh yeah.
at the time, that was probably one of the coolest games ever.
Wait, which one? What Batman game was it? Just someone. I didn't know there were that many.
PlayStation
so
2
many.
Batman game. I think it's Batman Begins. I just remember it had, well, it's gonna be a very obvious statement, but I remember it had batarangs in it. But that was like one of the coolest things because like you could throw the bat. Yeah, it was definitely Batman Begins. It was this game for sure. Yeah, I ranted off for a second. Gaming. So yeah, so I played those all the way up until I was about 7 years old, and then my dad got into PC gaming, which is what I primarily have done for the remainder of my life. And the first game was Medal of Honor Allied Assault, which was I mean, we played the campaign a little bit, but the main thing that we did was multiplayer. We were in a clan, and it was like military-esque where you joined and you were a recruit for like 3 months, and then after that you went to private, then you promoted every like 6 months to a year. They were very serious about it.
Dear Lord.
And like you could only, and like it was competitive, so you would only play. That's how everything was back then. Like almost every almost a gang, but like almost every like clan or guild or whatever the hell you want to call it is was like military rank based for some reason. Like you would join a server and you would see like Sergeant whatever, like Sergeant Butnick, and like just like random, you know, people's gamer names and stuff, like, and then you'd see like GOA, which is General of Army, and you know, like they're like the owner of the clan, and they're like damn, yo dude, I met this one person. I was 7, I didn't give a shit, but it was like yeah. So but I remember, oh dude, we used to do this like it was competitive, right? So we would play in these like matches, and I had to like fill for someone one time, and I was a 7-year-old with ADHD like crazy, so I would just constantly talk like I'm doing right now. And I still remember his name. His name was Lead Magnet. He would tell me anytime that I would, or sorry, not Lead Magnet, my bad. His name was Lead Shower. Every single time that I would like talk a bunch, he would just tell me sock, as in like put a sock in it, and then I would have to stop talking or whatever. But I remember
you said 7.
Yeah, I was 7.
Wow, so that would be, what year would that have been?
Like
what,
2001,
is that second grade?
2002,
2002.
2001, 2002.
2002. I said 22.
Yeah, 2002.
So that's like, I don't even know when. I think the internet was like around at that time.
Oh, we had dial-up.
Popular.
We had dial-up, like 56K.
Wow.
Playing a first-person shooter with 300 ping in every lobby, and we would have to lead our shots like we were expert snipers because of the lag, not because the game had bullet delay. It was because of that. So we have someone running on like a catwalk on V2 rocket facility, which is an actual map in that game. Can't believe I remembered that. Where they're like running on this catwalk, and we'd have to shoot 10 feet in front of them for them to walk into our bullet because of the lag.
Wow.
Maybe the game was
didn't
just
have, like,
so
ping
ahead.
correction and anything back then either. So like, peakers like it was stupid. But yeah, man. I mean, I fell in love with it. It was sick. Plus, I was better than all these like 20, 30-year-olds, and they'd always get mad at me. But yeah, I played that all the way up until like 2009 or something like that. Then they released 2 more Medal of Honors, and they were like whatever. Then I got into sim racing at a young age. I remember it was like NASCAR. I think it was like NASCAR 98, but it was multiplayer. And we had like the steering wheel and everything, and like you could design your own NASCAR. And I had at the time, so my very first game name was Sonic, but then I transitioned to Slackers because of the video game store.
Yeah,
which is a throwback. They're still around,
yeah.
but I don't think there's a lot of them. And my whole car was Slackers themed. It was sick. It had like the turtle on it and everything. But that game was like, if you damaged your car or other people's car, you like had to spend money to fix it. I don't know if it was real money. My dad told me it was real money, but I don't think it was real money. I think he just didn't want me wrecking everyone's car. Yeah, and then like transition later in years, got into competitive first-person shooters, played a bunch of Counter-Strike, got global in Counter-Strike, competed in CEVO. Didn't do anything. So I think I'm the only one here with like competitive first-person shooter experience.
You mean like in terms of like actually competing?
Yeah, like
not just,
actual
like a ranked
competing,
mode or...
like professional level type stuff or whatever. Yeah, so like CEVO was Brett, you'll understand this. It was like ESEA, and to transition it to you, Tyler, it was like game battles essentially.
That's as farthest as I got.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that where they had like brackets and everything like that. Did that for Counter-Strike. Played Soldier Front 2. Was on a professional
good
team
one.
for that. Exertus Esports was the team, which is now Elevate Esports. Did a short stint in the military. Left. Became an IT person. Still playing games. And then I pretty much only first person shooters are my bread and butter. But I've played WoW for like 10 years and everything in between. So that's pretty much my gaming career. I've talked too much. Go ahead, Tyler.
Oh, thanks. So mine actually going back, going back to the Game Boy Color. I think that's what my first game system was. And my grandparents got all of their grandkids Game Boy Colors for Christmas.
God damn!
I know, right? And the first game that they gave us all was, I think it was Pokemon Yellow. So I got into that, and up until probably the Xbox 360, I wasn't that much of a gaming kid. I played occasionally here and there until the Xbox 360. But after that, I mean, it seems like everyone else, my parents are the ones that kind of got me into gaming, actually. Like, they're the ones that got me the Game Boy Color. Then at home we had then we had a Nintendo 64. Then we had I think we were gifted a PlayStation 2. But on the Nintendo 64, it was like Pokemon Stadium, GoldenEye, Pokemon Snap, of course, but I never really got into Mario besides Mario Party, Mario Kart, that kind of stuff.
And you have brothers.
And I do have brothers, but they weren't, I don't think they were even born. We were in our first house for a year, then Tommy was born. So it was quite some time without any other brothers. So and when I was born, my parents were super young, like they were growing up still. So, and my dad wasn't as big as of a gamer that we are, but he was still, he played quite a bit. Contra, and he had an NES, then he had an SNES, so he was pretty into it. Yep. And then it's weird to say now, but when we got our house, we got a home computer, which is weird to say. It's like, because I feel like then any computer a house had, it was in their living space. And that's where it belonged.
Yeah, it was. They weren't. I don't know. They weren't what they are today. I feel like it was different. Like it was almost a utility as opposed of a means of entertainment. Right.
Exactly. And with that, I mean, it's funny. Like, I know Daniel, you know my mom. You don't really see her as a gamer, but whenever we got that, she got me Zoo. Like, I didn't even ask for games. She got me Zoo Tycoon, Roller Coaster Tycoon, Age of Empire. Like, my mom got me Age of Empires. Like,
that is amazing.
Sims. So that's whenever I started to dabble at it a little bit more. But then again, it was just like casual. It wasn't like I was spending hours a day playing video games. It was just every now and then. And then whenever I was 12, my dad waited in line for like 8 hours Christmas Eve to get an Xbox 360. And I think it was released on Christmas Eve. I could be wrong.
Xbox 360?
Yeah, Xbox 360.
It was released. No, I don't want to buy one. November 22nd.
So then he got it for Christmas, but I think by then he still had to wait in a line to get it. And he was in the line for like 8 hours to get this thing, especially during Christmas. And what really got me into games was actually, and this is weird to talk about because I feel like kids are way past this one, but was Call of Duty 2. That was like the first game that was the very first game that I played online. It was like the first person shooter I've ever played. And like you, Daniel, being a 12-year-old, like just we have those reflexes, demolishing 20 and 30-year-olds online. And my gamer tag was TYG93 at that time. And I remember like 30-year-olds going like, what are you like 12 years old? Like, how old are you? Because again, really great reflexes whenever we were that young. So it's like we could easily just demolish anyone. And then that turned in, I'm trying to think of what else, but there was a lot of games on the Xbox 360 that were not heavy hitters, especially in the beginning. But
all I played was Dead Rising.
Yeah, Dead Rising was really good. Dead Rising, actually, like I've never played a horror game. I've never seen one. And it kind of freaked me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, especially at like nighttime in the mall, it was pitch black. You couldn't see anything.
Well, if you progressed, you had those. If you progressed to the store, you had those like cultists and shit that would come around and like
Yeah.
they'd put you in a box and kidnap you and stuff. Like that shit
Yeah.
was crazy.
It was freaky. But before that, I guess I would every now and then, because my dad, of course, growing up, he was like early 20s whenever he got this, but it was Grand Theft Auto, Grand Theft Auto 3, San Andreas, Vice City. He was about all those, and I had to leave the room when I was watching him play like 20% of the time. And then, oh man, I remember getting Grand Theft Auto San Andreas when that came out, and I think that I was like 8 or 9 when that game came out, and I was playing it in the living room with my mom, watching me play it, and like the first 10 minutes is cussing and like just the
San
most horrific.
Andreas?
Yeah, like the most
that
horrific
one was
shit.
rough.
And my
Yeah,
mom
that
was
one
like,
was
"What
rough.
game did your dad just buy you?" It was horrible.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because one of the original N64 games that I got was 007.
Yeah.
I believe it was GoldenEye, and my mom got it for us for Christmas, and we started playing it.
2004.
We were playing it from multiplayer, and the multiplayer was basically just kind of like a deathmatch kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
But she was watching us play it, and she was like, "Is this the only point of this game? Is to shoot each other?" We were enthusiastically being like, "Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
She's
it's
like,
awesome, Mom.
You're not keeping this. We're taking this back."
Like, would you rather us fight or shoot each other in this?
Right?
I have an
Right,
older sister, so
exactly.
we didn't. She's 5 years older than me, so I didn't interact with her too much. By the
Yeah.
time, like, we were close whenever I was younger, but as we got older, she like had friends, and I would transition into just being a gamer. So
Yep.
that's pretty much it. We never really interacted like that.
Well,
Yeah, but
and then like for Call of Duty 2, like after playing Nintendo 64 and a Game Boy Color, like holding your gun up in Call of Duty and like seeing like what do you call it? Like engravings in the gun, and like the graphics to me at that time were like, holy shit, like this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then that was like really the first game that I actually beat as far as a campaign and a story. And then that, because I loved the multiplayer aspect of that, turned into Rainbow Six Vegas, which Daniel, we played that
So good.
all day, every day for like 8 hours a day, no matter if it was, I mean,
It was longer than that.
I think during the summers, we probably played for 16 hours a day. That's all that we would wake up, play it until 2 o'clock in the morning, go to bed, wake up and do the exact same thing.
It's so true. This is before you and I were friends, I think, Brett. Because we didn't get along in middle school, actually. I remember that.
You didn't get along with
recall
Brett?
that.
No, I was an asshole.
Yeah, those are stories for another time.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
But yeah, so
Oh, it was so good.
Vegas was so good. I remember like, and then we got max level, and you can customize the camo on your character,
Yeah.
and everyone wore the ballistic mask that you could like put these different camo patterns on and stuff. Oh, dude, that's such a
It's
good game.
crazy to me that game came out 14, 15, 16 years ago, and games today still do not have that level of customization.
Yeah.
That's nuts. But I got really heavy into that for a little bit. Well, like a full year, then Rainbow Six Vegas 2 came out. So
It was only a year?
yeah, because that game came out, and I'm trying to think, because I don't even know if it was a year later or was it longer than that. But then Call of Duty 4 came out, Halo 3 was out, so it's like there were just so many multiplayer
That's
games
true.
that came out in
Call of
such a
Duty
short
3 was
amount of
like,
time.
it was
I did
alright.
not
It
like
was
that
meh.
one.
Like,
Yeah.
so that's the thing is, so I transitioned from PC to console. Like, obviously the early console stuff, like Nintendo 64, PlayStation, all that stuff, like, or PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. I feel like a lot of people went there. But I went from PC to Xbox 360, then back to PC for a long time, and I had already played Call of Duty, like the original Call of Duty that had vehicles and stuff in it. And then whenever Call of Duty 3 came out, all of like our console friends were like, "Holy, oh my God, there's vehicles in this. They got tanks and Jeeps and stuff." And I'm like, "This is new?" I didn't know because Call of Duty 2, from what I remember, didn't have vehicles online. but the original Call of Duty did, and then they went back to it in Call of Duty 3. I honestly don't. As the kids say, I think it was a very mid game. Like I don't remember enjoying it that much.
I don't even think I remember buying it. I don't even think I finished the campaign. I played online, like maybe just a couple matches, but I was not a fan of it at all.
Yeah. I think there was a big like mod scene for it or something. I remember something like that one specifically was big for some reason. I just don't remember what it is.
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, no, but then after like the multiplayer scene that I was in for a little bit, I started to because of other friends that I had at school at the time, they were playing a game called BioShock that just came out. Like I had no idea what this thing was. I really have never played a single player game before. But that game is for sure. I think that's like a top 5 game for me ever. And that was one of my
series of just the first one.
I think the first one. The second one was okay. Infinite, I thought, was really good as well. But like going into the lighthouse and getting into the bathysphere and then dropping into Rapture for the first time, I was like, holy shit, like I've never experienced this before. Like this is nothing that I've seen in a TV show. This is nothing I've seen in a movie. This is nothing I've experienced in a video game so far. So that to me was crazy. And then also another game that did it for me as well was, I think this is the first RPG that I've actually played, and I think it was Fallout 3. And I was obsessed with that game. I just remember, I'm sure you guys have played that as well, but like
I'm not
leaving
a Fallout fan.
Oh God, you're crazy.
I know.
But there's a moment like where you're leaving the vault and you're going into the wasteland for the first time. And it's like, I remember waiting at the door that you exit out of to go into the wasteland. And I like just sat there and I was like, I know I'm about to go into something really crazy. So I like ran upstairs, grabbed a drink, grabbed a bunch of snacks because I knew I was going to be there for a few hours. And then it's like I left the vault and it's just anything you can see, you could go and visit. So I'm like, this is crazy. Like that's the first time I've ever experienced that. And then I'm trying to think of what like other big hitters there was for me. And then of course, like Red Dead Redemption 1 to me was a crazy game. It was an era of a video game that I've never played before, which I thought was pretty sick. And then, man, I'm trying to think of like what other big games there were for me.
My 360 time was essentially mainly just spent playing Halo on Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Because COD 4 came out, and that was like that's what everyone was playing, and I was the only one of any of my friends that played PC. So since I have a really hard time playing anything solo, really, so since most of the time I was wanting to play with people, I spent a lot of time playing console with you guys, and then whenever I wasn't playing console with you guys, I would hop off and then play like Guild Wars on PC.
Yeah.
Which was my first MMORPG. And then after Guild Wars, I came home from school once and my dad had bought WoW, and I was like, oh, this is just a better Guild Wars. I'm sorry for anyone that I offend with that statement, but
I mean, it's proven.
I don't know. There's a following for Guild Wars.
Let's look at the player base really quick.
But yeah, so I had a lot of fun with that. But again, it was right back to, I mean, we're talking high school era now, and that was like Modern Warfare 2 was. I mean, I'm pretty sure that game consumed all of our lives. Like, I failed a grade in high school because of Modern Warfare 2. Like, I legitimately spent so much time playing that game that I wish I could retrieve like console stats or something. Not that I was crazy good at it or anything. I just want to see time played.
Kids kind of have a benefit where they can see all that stuff now. Like on PlayStation, it counts it. On Xbox, it counts how many hours you played in a game.
Does it? I genuinely like. I have a PS5. I never play it. I have. I don't have the new Xbox, but yeah, I mean, you're very much more a console gamer than PC, Tyler. So I guess that's your realm.
So, in all honesty, I think it's because of during that Xbox 360 era, there were so many games that I like single player games that I just fell in love with. And then after that, like I was an Xbox kid at that time. Like I loved Xbox 360, didn't care about a PlayStation 3, didn't care about anything that it had. And then towards the end of the cycle and the Xbox One came out and the PS4, I think that they just did a bad job at marketing what the Xbox One was going to be because they made it seem like it was like this home entertainment
Oh well,
that
yeah,
went
they
with
definitely
your
marketed it as an entertainment system, not
compared to a gaming system.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, I don't want that. I want a gaming system. So I went with the PlayStation 4, and then that came along with like The Last of Us, which I think is one of the greatest games ever made. Then it was like the God of War that came out later in the PlayStation 4, but like Heavy Rain and Infamous and Horizon Zero Dawn, like all these incredible games on the PlayStation. And in all honesty, why I stopped playing multiplayer games so much is just the time that it took to be to be good at them. And as we get older, the harder it is to get good at them. So I'm like, I'm a pretty competitive person, as I have yelled and cussed a lot while playing with you guys, and it's not on purpose. I just get irritated if I'm not doing good. So it's like, you know what, this isn't enjoyable to me. Like this is not enjoyable for me to be on the bottom of a leaderboard. How else can I have fun to play video games? And that's how I kind of like just drifted towards a PlayStation 5 and console, is because of just how many great games it has on it. But now they're starting to drift where they're putting their games on a PC,
Yeah,
which is
there's a
awesome.
lot there's a
Yeah.
lot of PlayStation games that are at least getting a PC port. The only one that I've played like recently that was a PlayStation exclusive was the Spider-Man game, which
Yeah.
I had
Oh,
already
it's
played
so
and
good.
beat on console, but then I bought it again for PC, and I mean it played very well on PC. I haven't played the Last of Us port or anything. I'll probably play the Last of Us 2 on PC. Um, but I haven't beat that game. I have a really hard time playing single player games.
So
Even
that's why,
even
like,
games that I know that are good, like Red Dead Redemption 2.
my God, it's
Yeah,
so
I'm the same way. I
I
have such
can't
a hard time getting into the single player
yeah,
because
like I
it's like
could
I just get bored, and it's like it's not even the game is bad. It's just that I just have such a hard time staying focused because I just want to just get up and go. But a lot of things are like go here, go here, go here, and it's very linear.
that's
especially
why, yeah.
I would say especially Red Dead, because that game is so like do this task
You
and then
have to do
ride
a
a
mission a
horse for
certain way.
5 kilometers, and it's like I can't nope, like
Yeah.
I will get bored, and then I was like I'd rather spend my time playing Valorant than Red Dead Redemption 2. Like I don't know, there's just something about single player games that don't click with me. I think maybe it's ADHD or something, but it's been like that for uh I don't know, probably since we got out of high school, I think, because I used to play a lot of single player games, right? Like I'd put a lot of time into the first Red Dead, and Gun was that
Oh, yeah, I
same
remember
type
that.
of game, and
Hmm.
uh Dead Island series, Resident Evil series. However, I still do play through every time there's a new Resident Evil, I play through that. Um
So that's why I kind of
yeah.
feel like that game series for you like almost resonates with your childhood, because it's like it's weird that that's like the only single player game that you get every single time, and you can sit and play through it, and that just happens to be like one of the first games that you've ever played
Right.
or watched. So to me, it's like it almost like it resonates with your childhood, and it just, I don't know.
Yeah, I
It's just
definitely get that. Cause for me, Modern Warfare 2, they were kind of both. So on PC at least, they're two different downloads. One is for the campaign, and then one is for multiplayer. And the Modern Warfare 2
You said this
campaign,
is for Modern Warfare 2. Okay.
yeah. So on Steam, it's two different games. So
oh, it is. That's right.
yeah, so the campaign, I feel like games like that are like the only campaigns that I can actually get into because of how heavily I was into the multiplayer. Like I played
Yeah.
that game so much. So I was like, I have to play the campaign because I mean, a lot of people play the campaign before they hop into multiplayer. I'm the complete opposite. I hop into multiplayer, and if I like it a lot, I'm gonna invest time and see what the story's about.
There's,
And the
there's
story
always
was
that warning whenever you
insane.
first launch it. It's like, but you haven't played the campaign.
It's like,
I know.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's
but, like,
something
yeah.
that did you ever play Modern Warfare 2? You never mind, you have on PC. I know you have, Brett.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something that like I'm trying to think of what Call of Duty I spent the most time on PC for. One of the other groups of people that I play with, they all competed in Black Ops on PC. And at the time, we were playing it for console, and I didn't know this. This is not at all important in any way, but the PC version of Black Ops, Black Ops, didn't have slow motion on the kill cams for the last kill. It was just like full regular speed.
All speed, so it lasted 2 seconds.
Yeah, I remember
didn't
seeing
work.
it for the first time, and I was like, "Wait, why is this not slow motion?" And my cousin's like, "Idiot, that's only for console." And I was like, "Oh, my bad. I'm sorry, I
PC
didn't
sucks,
realize."
dude. I still remember the first. This is a really weird thing to remember, but I remember the very first map that I played on Modern Warfare 2, and it was Derail. It's just
Really?
it's so crazy that I still remember that to this day. I don't know why I do.
Which one's derailed again?
It was the
Does it involve
snowy
a
map.
train?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it's-
train is
yeah.
derailed.
Oh
in the middle of the
yeah.
map.
It's a pretty big map, isn't it? It's
Yeah, it was
yeah.
one of the bigger maps in the game. Yeah.
That's right. And it had yeah. So it was like a train yard on one side, then there was the building in the center, and then there was another yeah, I do remember that one. Okay.
Yeah, there was a big building, and then there was a smaller building to the left or right of that.
Right,
like,
yeah. And then
depending
the
on where
other
you're looking at it.
opposite was like a gas station where you could get on the roof, basically. I do
Yeah,
remember
like
that.
a little strip mall, and then there was just an open area. Yeah, that was a big sniping map.
Yeah.
People love.
I do
sniping on
remember that
map.
one.
So this is what is crazy to me. I feel like by the time Modern Warfare 2 was done, it had 24 different multiplayer maps, which I think is insane.
That
is
is
crazy.
absolutely that's crazy. I think there were like 4 different like downloads. Like you had to actually like buy each
Yeah,
each
like
thing, and it came with like
DLCs.
it came with 3 or 4 different maps per download. And they were like $15 a piece or something like that.
I was a big Gears of War fan, personally.
Okay, so, I was gonna talk some shit, but
About Gears of War?
no, not about Gears of War.
Okay.
What I was gonna say is because like going back from going from an Xbox 360 to a PS4, another part about that, the reasoning is I don't think, and this is gonna maybe set some people off, I don't think that Xbox has done a great job with their games. Like they've had Forza, Xbox, Halo since like 2005, and since then I don't think that they've had any strong exclusive games. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but
Boy, you're definitely gonna set some people off with that one.
that's fine. I don't care.
Well,
Yeah. I mean,
that's
I mean, there consoles like PS. Like if you look at Sony and then you look at Microsoft, like there are some diehard fans. Like it's like a iPhone and Android. You know, it's like if you like
Oh,
one,
no, it
like
is.
you have to hate the other one. That's just how it is.
See, and
not
I'm not
everybody's
even
gonna
gonna
be like that, but
I'm not even gonna say that.
I think
hate
it's consoles unite against PC people.
See, but I have Game Pass for the Xbox on my computer. Like I still play those games, so it's not like fuck Xbox. Like,
Well, I think you're silly not to. Yeah, that's such a good deal.
it is a very good deal.
right. But
And
what I just
Game Pass
found
is
out,
partnering with a bunch of different like companies and stuff too.
yeah, like you can only play it. Starfield, you can only play on a PC or Xbox that's coming out. Any Bethesda game that's coming out, you can only play on a Xbox now or a PC. But what I just found out is if you have a PC, you can do you can stream a console game onto your PC even without an Xbox, which I think is pretty sick.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And with
is
gigabit
pretty
internet,
cool.
it's like it's pretty much seamless. So it's like
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Not
I just
sponsored
realized
by
that,
by
but
the way.
Not yet.
all the sponsors.
Yeah.
But okay,
Yeah.
what games are you guys currently playing? Or I guess before we get into that, going back to Call of Duty, do you find like whenever a Call of Duty game releases, does it hold your attention the same as like Modern Warfare 2 did back in 2008?
Not
and
even
if not,
close.
why do you think that is? Is it just being bored of Call of Duty? Is it like it's just not being the same?
It's
Are
a
there-
good
are there just
good
better
question.
games?
Good question on the why. I don't know. to be honest, because like I think the newest Call of Duty is fun. Like it's a fun run around and shoot people type of game. Um, but it's like I guess it just doesn't have it. There's not like a lot of stock in it. Like I don't feel any sense of accomplishment from winning. I don't feel any sense of accomplishment from like getting kill streaks and like doing all this other stuff. Like maybe that's what it is for me. But like if I go to like Counter Strike or Valorant, it's like I feel like it's just so much more rewarding to be good at that game than it is to be good at Call of Duty. At
Yeah.
least on PC, and I'm not competing or anything, so I don't want to like take away from the professionals that play that game because I think that they're incredibly talented. Um, and just in gaming in general, I think like Scump and like Scump, Crim Six, and like all those professionals and stuff. Like think some of those they're the best gamers like in the world in some aspects. But it's like at the same time, like I can't play that game and feel accomplished. And maybe they do
Right.
because they compete, but I don't know. Some of them have
Yeah.
retired and they still play Call of Duty, so I don't know.
Yeah, games like Valorant and CS:GO, I feel the same way because it's all about those games are like they're supposed to be like precision based. Like the people are gonna disagree with that because there's a lot of RNG when it comes to it sometimes with like spraying and whatever. Except for like maybe it's not CS:GO because CS:GO you can control your spray. Valorant's a little bit more random. But
Running gunning is way worse than Counter Strike, by the way.
I believe it.
I just want to get that out there.
I believe it. Yeah, I mean that's always going to be an argument, no matter where you go. But yeah, I mean Call of Duty, I feel like anybody can be good at Call of Duty. Like not like amazing, not like great, but they can be good. You can hop into a lobby with that has, the kids are built differently nowadays, but you can hop into a lobby with 10-year-olds that are getting, just they're just going nuts.
Mm.
It doesn't matter what gun it is, they're just going nuts. And I don't know, there's just something I guess you could say maybe thrilling is a little bit of a over the top word, but there's something very satisfying about being super precise and just hitting your shots and then moving on and then like or like acing, I guess you could just say. There's something super satisfying about that. But like nowadays Call of Duty is just like, oh great, got a attack chopper, just gonna call that in real quick and then just do exactly what I just did. It's like there's no satisfaction with that.
Yeah, like getting a clutch and Valorant's basically the only game I play right now, so I'm gonna use that as an example. But getting a clutch in Valorant is like way more satisfying than getting a clutch in like S&D on Call of Duty. Unless you're killing like the entire team, then it's like hell yeah, that was cool. But that's not happening every time, you know. And it's just I don't know. It's like we played the Call of Duty ranked mode for a little bit, and I mean like it was
It was
fun. It was
fine.
just
Yeah,
yeah, like I don't
it's all right.
I just don't see myself like grinding it, you know.
Yeah, and going back to what you asked, Tyler, I mean, I think if you look back, getting a kill streak, like let's just say Black Ops for example, I remember getting
Get
dogs,
the
and
dogs.
I was like, ugh, because the guy just says dogs incoming, and that's just like, dude, I just got dogs, and then you just see points appearing on your screen as the enemy dies. Like that's so satisfying.
Yeah.
There's something satisfying about that. But now it's like, you get an AC. I don't even know it's not called an AC-130. It's called a gunship.
Mhm.
In the new Call of Duty, it's like okay, I mean, you
One
get a
thing,
bunch of
yeah.
kills and it doesn't matter.
One
I
thing
don't
that
know.
drove me, I think what really like switched me to not really caring well not necessarily not caring about it, but like noticing a change is whenever kill streaks became score streaks. So like now on domination, anyone could just sit on a flag, see someone come up and take it, shoot that person, retake the flag. There's 200 points. That counts as you got one kill and it counts as 4. Go back, do the exact same thing, you captured 2 flags and killed 2 people and you have dogs now or whatever the 10 like what it would take to get 10 kills, you now can do that in like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think
um
they did a lot of balancing around that. There
yeah.
was one I don't know if it's the most recent Call of Duty or one of the other ones where the score streaks would persist through death. So
Yeah,
even
yeah,
if you
yeah, yeah.
died, you wouldn't
I
like
remember
even
that.
if you died, you could keep your score going. So like no matter what, you're getting a pavlo or whatever else. I remember that. Like I don't know. I think there was a what the hell was it in the most recent COD? Those damn decoy grenades that everyone would run
Those are
everyone
so
would
annoying.
run score
Oh, yeah.
streaks and just launch decoy grenades throughout the whole map, and then every kill that their teammate would get, it would count towards their kill streak. And that was
Yeah.
like a good way to level
I
weapons
didn't know
and
that
stuff.
that was even a thing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's the it was by far when the game released, it was by far the
So is
easiest
that
way to
why-
level your gun.
Is that why there were decoy grenades going out off every 5
Yes.
seconds of that?
Yeah.
There was no reason to not run them.
Yeah, I mean the other alternative was a flash or a stun, but I mean if you have score streaks up, you basically have UAV the whole time, and like I don't know, it was way more just easier to just get two decoy grenades, throw one on that side of the map, throw one on the other side of the map, and then profit essentially. Like it was the meta for a little while, but
Yeah, and go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say I've heard a lot of pros talk about this. Clear, like I don't play that many multiplayer games anymore, but I've heard a lot of pros, like I'm not gonna name any names right now, but I'm sure everyone knows who they are, that have talked about skill-based matchmaking ruining multiplayer games. Do you think, as players, that is actually accurate? I'm here to set some fires.
so
Or do you think that, like, of course you should be playing with your own skill? Why is it fun to beat people that are brand new to the game or don't play that often?
So I don't know if it's an issue with content or whatever else it is where people complain about like skill-based matchmaking. The biggest excuse that I think is a bullshit excuse is like I don't want to have to try in every single one of my matches or whatever else, and it's like I don't like. Then I'm a much like I don't know. I play a game to win most of the time, and like I feel like these people that are saying like I don't want to have to sweat in all my lobbies, like you're sweating in your lobbies. Like
That's
you're
why
not
you're at the
trying
skill
to
that you're
not
playing
sweat.
at.
Like you just want to shit on people,
Yeah,
which it's not the
yeah,
same
pretty
thing.
much.
But like, however, on the flip side of it, a good argument that I've heard against skill-based matchmaking is I can't play with my lesser skilled friends because it most of the time it brings them up to my skill level and they don't enjoy their time. So even if they're trying as hard as they can, they're getting destroyed. And like that's a good argument. I don't have a solution against that.
I will contribute to that because, like, in all serious note, playing Valorant with you guys was not fun. Like, as a new PC player that has never played a game like Valorant before, it was not fun to play with people that have been playing it for years and that have been playing PC for years. Which is why also, while I played with you, I raged. I'm like, this is not fucking fun.
How do
to
you
me.
enjoy this game?
Like, because
Yeah,
like
yeah,
besides
this games have a
Counter-
huge learning curve.
yeah,
Huge
especially,
learning
like,
curve.
besides Counter-Strike and Valorant, in every single other multiplayer shooter, you can, not that I did this, but you can run around, spray a gun, and get kills. You don't have to be that accurate. There's kill streaks, whereas Valorant, it's like you have to be as precise as possible, otherwise you're getting 0 kills.
Yeah, I mean there are some people will disagree with you and say that run and gun's pretty bad in Valorant, which I can't admit. There are times when it is very bad. Like if you're on Haven and Garage and someone just runs in with a Spectre and holds left click, like you're probably gonna die. But
I guess
it's
just
like
compared to like a Call of Duty
no,
or
no,
Medal
I
of
get
Honor
it,
or
but
something,
like
yeah.
you're trying to play like the same way that we play, which is like very precise and not run and gun and stuff, and it's like it's not and its core, it's like the simplest aspect of point and click, but you have to be fast and accurate and everything else with it, especially in the lobbies that we're in.
Yeah.
No, I can see that not being enjoyable for a new player at all.
Well,
Yep.
and then not
Play-
just that, like if I'm playing a multiplayer game, I want to play with friends. So that like couple month time it takes to get really good at the game, I don't want to do that because I don't want to play by myself for 3 months. Like that to me is not fun.
Yeah,
And that's
a
like the
couple
bare
months.
minimum it would take to get to the level that you guys are currently at. Like I don't want to play a game for 6 months by myself and to get to that skill, to reach that skill, that is like the only game I can play to get that good that quickly. like
Mhm.
and keep up with everyone else.
Yeah.
So that's another reason that I don't play multiplayer games that much as well.
Yeah, going from console to PC, especially going from
It's
like
rough.
casual single player games to competitive precise game, it's a shock. It's a
And
big,
I'm okay
big
with
shock.
saying that I am terrible at games on a PC multiplayer. I'm fine with saying that as well. I will
Mhm.
fully admit that.
Yeah, playing a console game with playing a game like Valorant or CS:GO with a console gamer, it's a huge shock, and
Oh
like
yeah.
it's something as simple as being like, hey, just don't move and shoot. Like for me, that's like, oh, okay, I just won't move and shoot. But to them, it's like,
To
I
me,
don't
I
know
was like,
what
what
I'm
the
doing.
when
Yeah, I
Daniel
don't.
and
Is
like
there
you
is
were
there a precise game like that on console?
I don't think
I remember the
until
old.
Valorant
I
comes on
remember
PC, I
Counter
don't think
Strike
so.
was on
Or on
Xbox.
console.
Um,
No, yeah.
but I played very. I did not play it a lot. I don't remember it being super good, but because I at the time I played Counter Strike on PC, so it was like completely different. But
I think the last game probably was Vegas. Like because in Rainbow Six Vegas, it was hard to just run, sprint, and shoot around in that game
that's
because
true.
of
Everything was all about
corner
taking cover in that
peeking.
game.
Yep,
Yeah,
taking cover.
yeah, that
But
stupid shoulder glitch where you could like
oh my god, that
you could get on
lasted
a
the
wall
entire
and like
length of
walk
the
up
game.
to a. You could walk up to like a door that's open and slide on. And it's a third person shooter. It's not a first person shooter, and wherever your crosshair is where you're shooting. So you're like,
Casino Vault.
yeah. So you would. Oh god, dude. I remember
I
that
myself
stupid
never played
shit.
those games, so I don't.
That makes me
I
sad
have,
for you, Brett.
yeah, yeah. I
It
think
was
well,
so good.
well, yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because was that a online was that an online game, or was
Mhm.
that like
Yeah.
a like terrorist hunt kind of thing?
And terrorist hunts, those were
Both.
fun as hell too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, transitioning to that. So my first online multiplayer game, which I don't really know if it was considered multiplayer, but it was. I remember going to a little bit of backstory. I remember going to GameStop and seeing it for the first time, and I was like, "Wow, I got to get this!" And it was a Wi-Fi adapter. And the reason I wanted it was because I
Yes.
wanted it. I wanted it for Pokemon Diamond. Maybe it was Pokemon Diamond. It was one of the Pokemon games, and I thought that was like the coolest thing I could like that I've
Wait,
ever been introduced
was it
to.
the adapter that plugs into the actual like Game Boy that you could like
Yeah,
talk to other Game Boys with? Is that what you're talking about?
it was either that or it was one that plugged into the PC.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, one or
That's
the other.
pretty sweet actually.
Yeah, so get it like the thing that was like sold me on it was the fact that I could trade people
Mhm.
like anywhere. People could put it up on like I don't think it was called the Grand Exchange, but you could put it on
That's
like I
RuneScape.
know that's I know that's RuneScape, but it was like an exchange deal. So like somebody if they didn't want a Pokemon, let's say it was the shiny Pokemon and they already had plenty of them, they would put it on there and then you could offer that up and then you could immediately just trade it like that, like just easy like that, and you could do the same thing and then you could go back to the spot and then see what somebody traded you and see what you got for it, and that was like revolutionary to me. I thought that was the coolest thing. It didn't work half the time, but I thought it was the coolest thing.
I'm not a Pokemon gamer. Not a Pokemon enjoyer personally.
After the first original like red, yellow, and blue, I kind of stopped after that. But I
Yeah,
had fun playing
I
it.
didn't even play those. I never
That's
knew where to
embarrassing.
go. It's like this game's stupid. Every bush I walk into, I gotta fight something. It's a waste of time. Yeah, I did
Yeah,
not enjoy
that's
it.
Pokemon. That's Pokemon in a
That's
nutshell.
Pokemon for you.
Yeah.
There was a to what was your question that you even asked? I forgot.
Mine
Oh,
or
the
Brett's?
skill-based matchmaking thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's necessary personally. I also see the argument of saying like don't have have unrated and a ranked mode, unrated without skill-based matchmaking and ranked mode with it. I mean, Call of Duty did that in the past, right? They had a ranked mode, but the unrated also had skill-based matchmaking, so people argued like what's the point of ranked and stuff. It's just like I don't even know if the ranked mode in the current COD is still popular. But yeah, I mean
Mhm.
I think it's fine. I don't see an issue with skill-based matchmaking personally.
Yeah, I'm kind of half and half. I can see both sides. I personally, I think it's Call of Duty. I think anybody can pick it up and play it play it for like 2 hours and probably somewhat decent at it. Like, I mean, that's just how I see it. I think anybody can play it. So I really don't see the harm in skill-based matchmaking, but I also understand that, people don't want to get on and then just try. There are people that get home from school, they just want to hop on, or like even from work, they just want to hop on and they just want to just run and gun, and that's all they want to do. They don't want to have to, worry about somebody sitting at a tight angle or having to deal with an overpowered gun. Like, people just don't want to deal with that. They just want to just run around and just quote unquote have fun. I don't think it's really just about quote unquote having fun. I think, like you said, Dan, I think they care more about like just shitting on everyone.
Yeah, but like, why are you playing the game? To win, right? Like,
well,
I feel like the people complaining about it though are the ones that are trying to make content though. Like a lot of them are like,
well, I
damn,
think
gotta
those.
play
I think
20
they have the
games
biggest
now."
voices. Personally, I think that
And
there are
that
a
may
lot
just
of.
be the people that we hear.
I think that there are a lot of people that aren't content creators that think skill-based matchmaking isn't good. But again, like, I don't know, if I'm playing a game, like, I don't want to just lose and get shit on. Yeah, like, yeah, that sucks. But it's also like, I don't know. I just don't. It's a hard argument to sell for me. Like,
yeah, well, games are supposed to be fun, right? That's like kind of the definition of a game. A game is just, doesn't matter if it's like a basketball game, as long as you're having fun, right? But then when you put in that competitive aspect into it, it doesn't matter what game it is. You can make hopscotch competitive. It's technically a game, but you can make it competitive, like where you could, like, I don't know, do something random to make it competitive.
we got to verse all other really good hopscotchers, or
Yeah, so, or like, I don't know, throwing bean bags at him or something. I don't know, just something to make it just competitive, and to a lot of people, competitive makes it more fun. But to others, it's like, I just want to hop on and I just want to have fun. Like, I don't want to have to worry and try. I just want to just turn my brain off.
but what are they doing to have fun? Are they going even, or are they shitting on everyone? Because that's the difference, right?
Well, I think that is that's a mindset. It's like, if you're a super competitive person by nature, you're going to want to shit on everyone and do as well as you possibly can. Whereas you have little Timmy that's 9 years old, just got home from kindergarten or however old. I don't know what grade they're in.
9 years old in kindergarten. They should not be playing games.
He's got other issues.
Whatever grade you are, whenever you're 9,
I think that's
and
fourth
they just
grade.
get on. Yeah, 4th grade, and you get on, and you're just they don't want to have to try it. If they're gifted and like they're really good.
Well, if they're bad at the game, they're gonna get in other bad people lobbies.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I'm just saying, like, what the fuck is the argument?
True. But I also think there's a sense of getting better, like feeling yourself getting better, and I feel like you only feel that when you do kind of shit on people.
I can agree that it's hard to gauge skill, if you're constantly playing people that are around the same ranks as you, right? Because it's like if I'm playing, I don't know the Call of Duty ranking system.
Just call it game battles.
Yeah, so I mean, whatever. Like, if I'm playing the
so.
same, we'll just say, like, if I'm playing the same, the people that are the same rank as me constantly, I never know whether or not I'm good or not unless I'm destroying them. And if I destroy them in one lobby, the next game that I get into, I may get destroyed, and then whatever. It's a vicious cycle. But I can see an argument for that. That makes sense.
Yeah,
but it's like, I don't know.
There's never going to be a real solution, because there's always going to be people on both sides saying, I don't want to get shit on. I want to I just want to have fun. And then there's all other people saying, the complete opposite. Like, they just want to do as well as they possibly can. So, I mean, there's just no winning in this argument. Unfortunately, I don't think there's ever going to be a solution where everybody's happy. But I mean, that's the competitive scene for you. That's just how games like that are. It's how Call of Duties will be forever, unfortunately.
It's not even just Call of Duty either. I think skill-based matchmaking is in pretty much every game.
Yeah. And as someone that, is on the bad end of that sword of skill-based matchmaking with Valorant, I'm still not even against it. Like, it's I don't
I've also seen the argument of skill-based matchmaking promoting smurfing as well, which is a good argument.
Also true.
I think that
yeah, that's very true.
I think that that's another viable one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Smurfing is kind of a huge, a massive thing. I mean, I assume that whoever's listening knows what Smurfing is, but it's basically where you just make a really good player makes a lower rank account to either play with their friends or just shit on everything.
Yeah, to feel
and
better about
everyone.
themselves
Yeah.
because they can't hang in their own ranks. I'm just kidding.
All right, listen.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, it's I could see, yeah, I could see that argument being made.
Yeah,
But
that's always going to be a problem, unfortunately. But just got to roll with it. Or you could go on Twitter and complain about it constantly.
Yeah, there you go.
You know,
I
which
have
I feel
another.
like most people do.
I just thought of this one, but I did not originally think that I was going to ask this question, but this is another hot question.
Okay.
What is a game that has a lot of popularity and you don't know why it has that popularity? One comes to mind for me immediately.
well, you go ahead and
Yeah,
I'll try
I'll
and think of
think-
mine.
And mine's of course a single player game. Mine is The Witcher 3.
Damn, that
game
is a
known
hot
as,
take.
That's
Holy
like known as
shit.
one of the best games ever made. And I play it, like I played it for like 8 hours and I'm like, I just don't understand why. I don't get it. Like it doesn't, to me, it doesn't do anything different or unique. And it's just like the world itself that's not that pretty of a game. I don't know.
For me, it's
Just some-
Overwatch.
Overwatch?
Man, that's a tough question. I'm gonna have to take some time to think about it.
That's all right,
Overwatch is
that's
a
all
very
right.
good answer.
I
a very good answer.
genuinely do not enjoy Overwatch. I think it's the most stale gameplay that you can have in a multiplayer experience where it's they have a Reinhardt, let's shoot the shield for 25 minutes, everyone ult at the same time, didn't work, rinse and repeat. It's the same fucking thing. It doesn't matter if there's 6 people or 5 people. It's the same thing, and it's the most boring thing to watch, or it's the most boring thing to play. The pro scene's fun to watch if you understand it, if you don't have a seizure from all the colors happening on your screen. But it is like the pro scene is fun because there are like plays that get made and everything else. But like, I don't know. I played Overwatch recently. Even in the master, I think I'm masters and DPS, and it was still like the most boring fucking game I've ever played in my life.
You're talking about just Overwatch as a whole, like 1 and 2. You're not talking about just the first one.
Well, it's the same game regardless, but yeah.
I was gonna say arguably they canceled PvE, so I'm a little salty at them right now. So I'm inclined to agree with Daniel. But yeah, I mean they're basically the same game.
Yeah,
That
the
was
only
never a game that I
difference
really
is
got
it's
into.
5v5 instead of 6v6. And some people say there's balance changes, but that's a patch. That's not a new game.
Right. Yeah. It was basically just patch notes, which I liked what they did. Like originally, whenever Overwatch 2 was announced,
I
and they
also
came out,
agree the game should be 5v5 and not 6v6. I do agree with
Yeah.
that. It's
that made the game more tolerable because they stopped supporting Overwatch 1 to make Overwatch 2 and 5v5, and then they added passives to every role. So like DPS, they get like a certain amount of. I don't actually remember what they did with DPS. I know with tanks they made knockbacks. They recovered from stuns faster, and they got like, I don't know, some I think that was like that was like the main tank thing. And then for supports they all get like passive healing over time or something like that. Like that was a cool
yeah,
thing.
that's right. Yeah, health regeneration was
Yeah.
for supports, which is cool. I think that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, but
yeah, I agree. I like the patch notes. It's just the gameplay is incredibly stale for me. Which I mean,
Yeah.
people will probably say the same thing about Valorant and CS and the games that I play as well, because essentially those games boil down to hold an angle for 5 minutes, wait for someone to
Mhm.
swing. Like, I get it. I see both sides. I just enjoy one version of gameplay more than the other.
Yeah.
Overwatch
And
is incredibly fast paced. I understand the skill gap in it.
It's a little fast paced, just a little bit. When you're alive, it's super fast paced.
Well,
but when
it's
you
like
die,
it's bursty,
it is
right? It's like it's fast paced.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
god, the running back.
I was
That
I was
shit
gonna
drives
say
me nuts.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you die, it is a long respawn because
that
you take
sucks.
like 4 seconds. So you watch basically when you die, you start spectating your teammates, and then you spawn at the spawn room, and the spawn room is all the way across the map. So you got to go from A
Yeah, didn't they
to
put
B,
something? Wasn't there something new with that?
sort of.
Is it basically the same
It,
thing? I haven't played
basically,
since
yeah.
then.
So I don't want to like misremember, but I'm fairly certain on certain maps when you die and like say the spawn room changes and you spawn before like after they get to a certain
Yeah.
location.
So
So
it's like
like
yeah.
so like uh the name of it is escaping me, but you basically like push this let's just call it a car, whatever, to a certain point, and let's say you spawn before your teammates spawn, and it gets to the certain point. You have to go to A, B, and C, and if you get to C, you just you win the round. But if you get let's say you get from A to B, right, and you spawn before your teammates, they allow you now to respawn back with your teammates instead of staying way far ahead. That way, if they can't catch you and then kill you, and then you have to wait for them again. It was to prevent
Yeah,
staggering.
there was like an awkward stage of you spawn either you cap or they cap and spawns flip, and now it's like you're essentially you have to push through the enemy team to get back to your team, like I understand there was some weird
Yeah,
like essentially disruptive flow of the game with that, so I do like that change. Again,
yeah.
the game's just boring to me. I don't see the
Yeah,
appeal in it personally.
I agree with you. They were in my good graces for a long time, and then they announced that they were completely canceling PvE, which was the whole point of Overwatch 2. So that pretty much took the wind out of my sails. And I used to play Overwatch every day. Now I'm just like,
Yeah,
do I
now
want
I'm
to do
glad you
dailies?
don't.
Not really. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Well, Brett, if you don't know that question, I won't keep you under the scope right now. Me and
I
Daniel
actually
might
have an
catch some
answer.
hate. Okay, what's
Oh,
your answer?
what's
I
up?
actually have an answer.
I'm ready for this.
One game that I will just never understand why it's so popular, and I guess maybe I do understand. That would be Elden Ring. Those kinds of games are just not for me. They're just not fun. There's just
I
nothing fun about that.
I don't think that it's not a fun game, but Daniel might. I know Daniel beat it, so you might have a different opinion on this. But I honestly actually feel kind of the same way. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say it's a bad game by any means, but to me, like a game like that, to me, it's not game of the year like everyone says that it should be. Like, out of every game that comes out within a year, how are you gonna? Again, I don't care if anyone likes this game at all. That's great. I'm glad that you love it. But my personal opinion is like I don't know how a game like that can beat every other game that comes out in a year. Like that.
Mhm.
Like how can that game, like to me, beat a game like God of War Ragnarok? That's just like incredible. Great story.
Yeah,
Like I just
like even how it looks, just that people are like, "Oh my god, this game looks so good."
Daniel's over here
It,
laughing.
it's it doesn't look like innovative. It doesn't look like like this never before seen game. It just looks like a game. Like how did it win game of the I will never understand the popularity or the hype. I know there is a sense of feeling good about beating something that you've never been able to beat. Like let's say you're stuck on something for like 30 deaths and you finally beat it after like
30
memorizing it.
deaths. That's it.
That one might be more of a hot
I'm
take than
lowballing.
Witcher 3.
Dude, I watched my good friend Esports Doug fight Melania for 500 deaths without changing a single thing. He never got a different piece of gear. This is
Just
fully his
why?
fault. He never changed his build. He never changed his gear. He didn't level up to beat her or anything. It was just him versus her for like 530 deaths. And that is resilience. And if I had a hat, I would tip it to you, sir. Hell no. There's absolutely no way I spend that much time fighting one boss in the exact same way. I watched almost every single one of those too. And great content. It had me sucked in for sure. But it was just like, God, there's no way. But the
Yeah,
Elden Ring is also that type of game where if you're struggling on a boss for 30 deaths, as you said, you can just leave, get
Yeah.
stronger, and come back, which is cool.
Mhm.
But it's also it's also the type, like, I like games like that, because I like challenging games. That's like the only type of single player game that I could play. Every single player game I play, I pretty much play it on the hardest difficulty. Like, I just can't get behind, like, I don't know, even like story driven games like God of War and stuff like that. Like, I play those at the hardest difficulty. But basically, what I'm saying is, like, at level 1, you could essentially go through all of your remembrance bosses, which are the bosses that you need to beat to beat the game. You can do that all with nothing. You could do it with your bare fists if you want to, which I think is a cool concept. I think that the game is very innovative, even though it's very simplistic. It's a very,
Mhm.
like, I'm going to be a big sword guy, but you could also switch it up and be a magic person, an archer, like all these different things, and accomplish essentially the same goals. I'm not saying that's game of the year material or anything, but I agree that the game was well made. And
Yeah,
apparently, I guess there's DLC coming out for it soon. That's like, what is
Yeah,
the Xbox
that's what I've heard.
showcase? I think is tomorrow, and I think that's a big, like, oh yeah, the date, I guess, if we want to point that out, is June 10th. So there's a lot of
June
I
10th
think
is today.
yeah, I think there's a lot of hype around
Like
the
Saturday,
Xbox
not Sunday.
showcase tomorrow, because of the Elden Ring stuff. But yeah,
Oh, yeah, I don't know. All I know is
I'm
that
not like an Elden Ring stan or anything. Like, I just
No,
think I
but
think it's a good game. I watched YouTube content around it and stuff just because it's entertaining. But
I will say that is the kind of game that is more fun to watch than it is to play. I enjoy watching people get mad at video games. It's a guilty pleasure.
that
I'm
game is
guilty of it.
that's very good game for that. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I love that. And then people that are masters at a game like that is incredibly difficult for almost every other player. I
Dude,
think that's
have you guys
impressive as
seen this
well.
guy?
yes,
Have you seen
exactly.
Gino?
No.
No,
He's a
I have not.
YouTuber that beats the game.
Or didn't he do it without killing anyone?
No, he might have, but he beats the game no hit.
That's
But,
what it was. Yeah. Maybe that's what it was.
Elden Ring, no hit, Gino. I don't know. I can't remember his full channel name. Gino. I don't know if it's Machino or Machino or not, but yeah, like, he does these like shield only and just like the most random stuff that, like, only consumables no hit and stuff. Like, he practices, obviously, like, he runs through the stuff before he before he progresses through the game, and some of them take forever. I think he did a fist only, yeah, bare fist only,
That's nuts.
which took him, well, this video is 4.5 hours long, but yeah, I mean, it took him like 5 hours, I think, to beat, which is still insanely fast in my opinion, to do that without weapons. But yeah, I his content's sick. I watch a lot of his videos, but just an Elden Ring master. And yeah, I don't know. He also does like bingos, which any of my that's kind of like a, maybe that's somewhat in the speedrunning community, but uh Legend of Zelda, Jesus, I couldn't think of the name. The Legend of Zelda community does a lot of bingo stuff, which is like also very good content. But yeah, it's I recommend check him out if you
And what's their name?
I
I mean on YouTube.
Gino Machino or Gino Machino. I'll link him in our chat if
Okay.
you want to check it out. But I have it
Okay.
also displaying to our audience as well.
Oh, right. Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think I mean I can somewhat agree with that statement, but I also like I understand why people can like that as well, because it is like you can do, like, the world is yours to do whatever you want with. But again, like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I think it's game of the year material like every player that apparently plays it thinks that it is.
What do you think should have won
Yeah.
it?
I don't even know every game that came out, and I think it's too early. Wait, no, that was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was last year, or maybe
Uh,
maybe even the year before. To be honest, I just noticed his description of his channel is mediocre gamer.
So here were the games that were in 2022 that were up for Game of the Year. Okay, A Plague Tale: Requiem,
Came out
Elden
came
Ring.
out February of last year.
Yeah,
That's crazy. It's been that long already.
Elden Ring, God of War: Ragnarok,
Mm-hmm.
Dre, which personally I think should have won. I love that
I
game.
thought that
What
was
is
a
that
pretty
game?
good game.
What
Like,
You
play as a
Stray
cat.
with the
It was
cat?
The cat game. The
Yeah.
cat game. It was better than God of War: Ragnarok. Don't at me.
Okay,
God of
now
War:
I'm
Ragnarok,
hopping off.
Yeah, for real.
Horizon Forbidden West, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yeah,
Which I
if,
never
those,
got
if
into
those were the
games.
choices to pick, then yeah, I could see Elden Ring winning.
I
Uh,
I will agree. I mean, God of War I thought was good.
God of War was
but
good. I don't think I beat Ragnarok, to be honest.
I didn't beat it.
Really?
It's one of
surprised.
it's one of those games where like I know it's a good game, I just can't put the time into it to beat it.
I think there were like multiple games that came out like at the time that came out, and I got like distracted, and that's why I didn't beat it.
I played
Um,
so many games sporadically. Like I just randomly put 300 more hours into Destiny 2. I did like the WoW hardcore stuff for a little bit, playing Diablo 4, Valorant. I'll always probably go back to Valorant and play Valorant. I've actually I had this thought earlier today where I was like, maybe I reinstall Face It and play Counter-Strike again. Like I
Yeah,
don't know.
I mean,
There's
CS2 is coming out, so maybe it's an idea.
don't even get me started about CS2. They reverted the the one good thing about that fucking update, which was the grenades blowing away the smoke.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear about that, but
that was a big
that's
thing.
funny.
I thought
That was
like
a very
a big
thing.
perk.
At least
of that
that's
game, I thought.
that's the last I heard about it. I could have been trolled. I haven't played it or watched any content about it, but I was told that they reverted the grenades blowing away the smoke. But that's the only thing that makes sense to me about that update. I get the whole what is it, volumetric or geometric smokes, whatever the hell it is, where the smokes have like physics.
So everybody's smokes look exactly the same to everyone else.
Where like you can shoot through it, it creates the bullet holes, whatever else. Like cool idea. I think that sucks. I think shooting through smoke and it creating gaps in any sort of way hurts the competitive integrity of the game, if I'm being completely honest. I think it's incredibly like shifting, but in a bad way. Like those games were essentially like designed for smokes being a way to like cut off space and cut off lines of sight and create windows of opportunity for you to like potentially spray through smoke and kill someone. But it's like the way that, again, I have not watched recent content on CS2, so this could just be completely wrong. But like, if you and I are in a 1v1 situation and you shoot through the smoke first, I just win that fight. Unless you kill me with those first initial shots, I just win. I see where you're shooting from. I see you. It's a whole different aspect than just have tracers on your gun, right? Because even tracers give away your position, and a smart and good player can understand through using sound and whatever else, like, oh, he's shooting from up there through the smoke. I can see the tracers. I'll spray up there and kill him. But since it creates a gap, it's like, I don't see, like, I think that's stupid. But the grenade blowing away the smoke, I think that makes the most sense because you're essentially trading utility for utility, which is good in my opinion. However, like, we could go down this whole rabbit hole of like, well, you're forcing people to buy grenades now. You don't want to force utility that's changing the economy.
Right.
I don't know what they were going for. I just mostly agreed with the grenade versus smoke thing, and I heard that they reverted that. If they didn't revert that, this whole rant was for nothing and whatever. But
Rant away.
Yeah, that's just don't change it if you didn't. I don't know. Like I don't.
Yeah, I think they're making the game a little bit easier. We don't have to talk about CS2 for very long, but I think they're definitely making it easier because they're pushing an update for CS2 where there is a buy menu and you can return the
I did see that. That's cool. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
I
that's a cool
personally,
concept. That's something that the game has needed for so long.
yeah, I used to accidentally buy scouts constantly, all the time. I
Yeah.
would, and then I'm like, well, guess I'm fucking using a scout for the rest of the round, like, which in perspective, that's like it's just a shitty sniper that one shots to the head, two shots to the body, as opposed to buying like your M4 or your AK. Yeah, I would constantly buy the scout on accident, or if I buy like the wrong grenade. I can't tell you how many times I'm throwing a flashbang in spawn because I accidentally bought 2 flashbangs instead of a molly
Right.
or something. It's just like it's cool. I think again, yeah, I agree. I think it's been needed in the game for a while, but I don't know. I mean, again, I'll play CS2 for sure. Like I'll test it out. I'm not just gonna shit talk it and never give it a chance.
Right.
You know, give me a key, I guess. Let me in the beta, but
Right. Tyler, did you ever play CS:GO or any form of Counter Strike?
I couldn't get this guy to play League of Legends, my guy. I don't think he's gonna play Counter Strike.
Well, I mean, it's a shooter. You never know.
Counter Strike for probably a month.
Oh, so
And
you
then I
did. You
stopped.
did.
Damn, that's more time than I thought. Actually, I didn't know that.
So you tried it.
I did try it.
What were your thoughts? Obviously, you only played for a month, so they couldn't have been great. But
I
It's
think
like best game ever, game of the year.
No, by the time I played it, I mean everyone was just so good at it. Whenever I played them at that point, I mean I feel like it was, and I think that
those games are not good for new players.
no, like you might remember, like Dane, whenever I first got a PC in high school, that was like one of
It
the
never
first
worked.
games that right. That was like one of the. I have terrible PC.
You
luck.
really do have terrible PC luck. I built his most recent. Listen to this shit. Oh my god! I built the computer he's on right now. I built it. Right. I'm a quote unquote IT professional. Like I know what I'm doing. I put it together.
You don't have to do quotes. You are an IT professional.
I put it together. I tested it. I tested it at my house for multiple days before I gave it back to him. Mainly because it was way better than mine. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna play Tarkov and not constantly stutter. But it was just a sick computer, right? Put it together, worked fine for multiple days. He picks it up, takes it home. First thing it does is the blue screens, and I'm like, okay, interesting.
No.
Let's try some like turn it on, see if it does it again. Does it again? All right, well let's check your system logs. Nothing, because why would there be? So he checks. You know, I tell him take out 2 sticks of RAM. Takes out 2 sticks of RAM. It works for a little bit. Doesn't blue screen, but it just shuts off. No other warning, just shuts off. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. Bring it back over. I'll see if I can get it to, you know, I'll try and recreate the issue. Then we'll start swapping parts out and see what we can find out. He brings it over. I run this fucking computer on a benchmark. I just turned my camera with me hitting my desk. I run a benchmark in a stress test on this computer for like multiple hours, which people don't recommend. But I was like, I'm trying to get this thing to crash on me. Never crashed once.
And weren't you running you were running like Tarkov at the highest setting, OBS? You had didn't you have like multiple apps open?
Well, so I was because you said you were trying to stream or trying to record or something. So I installed OBS. I was recording in 4K. I was recording in 4K. I was recording Tarkov in 4K, running raids and doing stuff, and then at the same time as we were recording in 4K, not running Tarkov, but I was running benchmarks and stress tests as well. I mean, yes, I was getting like CPU encoding overload, whatever else, which is just saying that the CPU is getting used a lot. But it wouldn't crash on me. No idea what the fuck was wrong. Our house, I was like, dude, maybe it's the wiring in your house. You have an electrical issue.
I thought for the longest time it was the wiring issue in my house. Like I was
Well,
like,
that's what make the
I was,
most sense.
I was prepared to call people to rewire my house for $10,000. Like, that's how fucking, like, I'm like, dude, like, there's something wrong with my wiring then. And if it's messing up my computer, it's probably going to mess something else up in my house. So I need to get it fixed anyways. Like, I wouldn't spend that much just to fix a computer, but I'm like, okay, I probably need to get the rewiring done.
Yeah, he has the same wiring I do. Which I found out later. You have was it aluminum wiring, right? Or something like that?
Yeah, it was aluminum wiring, but the way that I found out that which is still crazy that it did not crash at my house. I took my entire PC, took it to my parents' house, like literally just to test it. I showed up with a big ass PC.
It's a massive PC. It's one of the Lian Li. It's like their top of the line PC case. It's massive, dude. Like,
and it crashed in their house as well. So I'm like, what the actual hell? Like,
their house is new, right? Like it's
new,
like
10 years old, 15 years old.
Yeah.
Our
house, Tyler and I's houses were built in like the 60s. So
yeah,
we both. So he has aluminum wiring and I have aluminum wiring. How I found that out, my dad's a contractor, so he kind of like fills me in on these different things. If I run like my washer, all the lights in my house essentially like kind of pulsate with the power that's being drawn from the washer. I don't know if this is true or not. I haven't looked into it. I'm just listening to my dad, so he could be full of shit. But essentially, it's like as the power gets drawn more, it's expanding and contracting the wires and causing like different fluctuations in power. So it causes like the whole house to be differently or whatever else. That being said, like I said, IT professional, all my shit's hooked up to APCs and UPSs. If I lose power, I'm good. But yeah, so like that was another thing that I told him. I was like, oh, well, if it's the wiring in your house, you can buy a UPS that regulate. I forgot what the actual term is called, but it essentially regulates the power from your outlet to your computer. So if it needs more power, it stores it in the UPS battery. I'm pointing at my UPS that's on the floor right now. It stores, like, you have a battery inside of it, and as it charges, if your PC is requiring more power, it will draw it from the battery to give it that power that it needs instead of just shutting off. I was like, well, that's your fix right there. Like, it sucks spending an additional $90 on a battery backup, but that'll fix your issue. He gets it. Still happens.
A little more than that. So the fact that, and like, this is like,
those
are things that you buy, like, in your PC should not, like, there is no way that it's going to crash or whatever, turn off if you have it plugged into this thing.
Yeah,
like,
from a power issue specifically is let's reframe. Yeah.
It did it again, and I'm like, what in the actual hell? So I go back. I'm like, maybe it's the power supply. I take the power supply back, buy a new power supply, still does it again. I'm like, what the actual hell? So then I end up going and purchasing a motherboard. Daniel has to come back, take it all apart again, put it all back together, and then it worked after that.
Yeah, it was a quote unquote worse motherboard. I mean, we're talking not like, he's got a fucking i9, like like top of the line i9 that you can get like 120 gigs of RAM or some shit. Like it was a quote unquote worse motherboard, but it worked apparently. And like, I looked up stuff afterwards, and I guess the motherboard that he was using has had that issue. I can't remember what the hell it was called. It was a 660, like a B660 gaming something. I don't even remember the brand.
I don't remember the name of it. Yeah, I
think it was an Asus. Or no, it was it was like the Strix 660 or whatever the i9 compatible one.
Yeah.
Listeners, if you have a choice, don't get that motherboard.
Oh my God. Yeah, please don't. Jesus. It was like I just spent so much money on this computer, and it was 3 to 4 weeks of not knowing what the hell is happening to this thing. I was so pissed every day.
Yeah, he was like, I'm just gonna give this computer to you. And I was like, are you sure? It's gonna work, I promise. I'm sabotaging it, so he gives it to me. No,
on the way, like, I told Lena, I'm like, she heard me screaming down here multiple times, I'm sure. But I'm like, fuck this thing. I'm taking this goddamn thing over to Daniel's. It's staying at his house. I'm done. I'm done with gaming. I was like just so pissed. I'm like,
He's
I'm
like,
not playing another video
PlayStation
game
for
ever again.
life.
Yes,
I'm
like,
never
this is-
touching another PC.
I'm like, see, this is why PC sucks. My PlayStation doesn't crash like this.
Yeah,
And it's-
backstory, every PC Tyler's ever had has had issues. Like, not necessarily like this, but in general has had issues. Like, would start to run terribly after like a week of having it. You know, just terrible luck. But every time I try to convert him, he'd buy one and it would just not go well, and then he'd go back to console.
See, so it's not even like on purpose that I didn't want to get into PC gaming. It's just like I've had before this, I had 2 other PCs that just did not run well, and it had like it had good specs. Like it was, if I'm weird in that way, like if I'm gonna have something, I want it to be like the best of what it could be.
It's like
Daniel.
I agree with
Daniel was telling me like you don't have to have fucking 124 gigabits of RAM. Like you can only need 2 RAM sticks. I'm like, no, I'm getting 4. I don't give a shit if it breaks my computer. Like I don't care. It looks dumb. I see slots in my computer that aren't full. Like I don't want it then. Like take
He's
it.
like buying sound cards and shit just to fill the PCI slots in his computer. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm kind of the same way, except the main thing that gets me, like I have FOMO pretty bad, which that stands for fear of missing out. Where it's like if a game has like a standard edition or an ultimate edition, I'm like, is $30 more really that bad? And then I play the game for 10 hours and never play it again. And it's like I have FOMO so bad. League of Legends has taken so much money from me, and Valorant has taken so much money from me because I'm like, I'm never gonna see this bundle again. Look at that super cool gun, buddy. It turns into an angry cow whenever you shoot. Like that's like, yeah, I get suckered into those marketing tactics so much that it becomes a problem. But
I don't get suckered into that stuff. I get more suckered into just the game itself. I mean, I am really bad about buying just any game that looks remotely interesting to me. Like, I don't even care about fighting games, and I just bought Street Fighter 6 and I haven't touched it.
Oh, so many of my coworkers are playing Street Fighter 6.
Like I played Mortal Kombat like one time. I don't even know why I bought it. It looked cool.
Yeah,
and I bought
it.
It's a visually
10.
amazing looking game, as in Street Fighter 6. The Mortal Kombat as well. Yeah. Street Fighter 6 looks so good. Like the visuals in the game are insane.
I will say the graphics are not the best themselves. But it's like it's the effects they throw at you while you're fighting. It's like, you bastards. You know what you're doing.
I'm not a fighting game person either. Like I play Smash, or I've played Smash. I don't still play it, but like I played the game whenever it very first came out. Smash Ultimate, that is, not the other ones. I think I got like Elite Smash with Snake like the first week or so, and I thought I was disgusting at the game. It turns out people just didn't have it yet, and I was versing the same 5 people, but it was cool. Platform fighter. We played Multiverses for a little bit too, which was kind of the same thing of like, platform fighter.
It was good.
I thought we were pretty good at Multiverses, but it's not a game that pulls my attention like that. But
right, yeah. For me, I have to have progression. There needs to be some sort of progression for me. And like the reason I'm enthralled with Valorant is because I could feel myself like, if I'm having an off day, like obviously I'm gonna be a little bit more annoyed with myself. But whenever I hit like a sick like 4K or an ace, I'm just like, okay, I'm nuts. There's nothing more satisfying than this.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
So sorry. Speaking of Valorant, EG just won their match, so I was
nice
watching
there you
them.
Go. I guess to kind of like wrap this up as well, I want to ask, and even if you haven't played a game in a while, like what are the last 3 games that you have played? Again, like it's okay if you played one of them a month ago, but what are the last 3 games that you have played, and what are your thoughts and opinions on them? Daniel, I know yours is Valorant, and it's your favorite game of all time.
Okay, it's not my favorite game of all time. I don't even know what would be my favorite game of all time.
I don't know that. I couldn't answer that either.
I could. I absolutely could.
Is it Banjo-Kazooie?
No,
It's
it's
for
Super
sure Mario.
It's Super Mario 64.
Oh
man.
yeah, he
Yeah.
said that earlier. Damn it.
Yeah, that
I'm
game
sorry.
is goated. That game is so
Honestly,
good.
I think my favorite game of all time would probably be damn, man, that's such a hard question. I want to say Ocarina of Time, but I didn't replay it as much as
Sorry, go
as
ahead.
much as I like think that I would if I did actually think it was the best game or my favorite game of all time. But like the Metal Gear series, I've played through a shitload. Like Metal Gear Solid or Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, I've replayed the shit out of the game. Metal Gear Solid 2 with like the big shell and all that stuff, like Solid as Snake and all that. Like I thought that game was amazing.
Damn.
So I'd say like top 3 would be. I know this isn't your question, but I'll move to your
Yeah, it's
question
fine,
in
don't
a
worry
second.
about it.
The top 3 would probably be like Metal Gear 2, Ocarina of Time, and then I don't know, maybe even like the original Resident Evil for nostalgia. Nostalgia. I don't know how to say the word, but
You got it. You nailed it.
I don't know the last 3 games I played. Let me
You don't know the last 3 games that you played?
let me check.
Well-
I know Valorant is one of them. I played that earlier
Same.
today. I just got my Ascendant back.
Let's go. Ascendant is technically it's the second or third highest rank in the game.
Yeah. Radiant being top 500.
Would Resident Evil 4 be one of the last 3 that you played?
No. Oh, I do know what they are now. It's Valorant, Battlefield 2042, and V Rising. Dude, have you played Battlefield 2042 recently?
No.
Yes.
It's actually good.
It's good when it works.
It's fun.
For whatever reason, and I think you said it was a common bug. I cannot get the CPU usage down.
Oh yeah, you're still at 100%. Does it happen whenever you join a
cannot.
game? We'll troubleshoot. We'll troubleshoot off the podcast.
That's fine. Yeah, I just have trouble opening it, and when it happens as soon as it opens. So I mean, I can't control it. But one of the most recent games that I've played, I think I actually could name the top 3 because I actually played like 3 different games the past 2 days. So one of them is Valorant, another one is League of Legends. The last one,
not a favorite game of mine.
Oh, these aren't favorites. These are most 3 recent.
Just the
played.
last.
Oh, okay. Recent.
And then Minecraft.
Okay.
Minecraft is a pretty fun game.
That's another
I still
to
enjoy
your
it.
fucking earlier question about you don't understand the hype. Minecraft is one of them.
I
Okay,
guess it's
that's not true.
like,
I understand the hype. It's incredibly boring to me. Incredibly boring to me, modded or otherwise.
Same for me.
The only thing
know, man.
interesting,
I'm glad that you enjoy it, Brett.
the
So-
only thing interesting
It's a
about
good game.
the only thing interesting about Minecraft to me is redstone. That's the only thing interesting to me.
Yeah, I could see that.
And Bed Wars.
Because
Bed Wars
yeah.
is sick.
Oh yeah, true. Bed Wars is very very cool. You want to explain what Bed Wars is? Tyler, do you know what Bed Wars is?
I have no
heard
idea
of
what that is.
Okay, God, I would give a very crude explanation of this, but essentially it's I don't know how many teams there are. I think there's like 6 teams, and they're in like a hexagon around an arena, and you get a certain amount of like building materials and a certain amount of like utility, or not utility, what's the word, like tools. You get a certain amount of tools, so like pickaxe, sword, whatever else, right? And you have to like build this little protective thing around your bed, because the objective is to destroy the other team's bed, and if the bed gets destroyed, then your team's out. So it's kind of like a Hunger Games, or like a battle royale in a way, where you're dropped in next to your bed, and you can like build out to like the common land to collect diamonds, which you could like buy better gear with, or it's like a pickaxe that can, or an axe that can break wood faster, or fireballs that you can throw that like knock people off. And the whole concept is you're like in the sky, so if you fall off, you die. and it's like a 2v2 type deal. But
Okay.
yeah, it's PvP. I'm
It's
sorry for
competitive.
anyone that plays Minecraft Bed Wars, and I just gave the worst explanation possible. Just watch a video on it. I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's essentially competitive Minecraft. That's it.
it's really cool.
That sounds kind of cool, actually.
I've
It's a
watched
cool concept, for sure.
a lot of RIP Technoblades videos on Bed Wars. Dude was a god at Minecraft in general.
Tyler, what are your most recent games that you've played?
Mine are kind of older, actually. I told Daniel about this. So I never really got into Metal Gear because I didn't have a PlayStation 1 and I really didn't mess with the PlayStation 2 too much.
You playing Metal Gear?
So Metal Gear Solid 5, I'm trying that game out. And whenever Snake Eater and all that gets remade and released, I'm going to for sure play those.
It's already remade. There's an HD collection for it.
Yeah, I think they're a little rough, though, aren't they?
I mean, I don't think they're gonna remake them again anytime soon.
That's what. Yeah, they just announced it. Did you watch the PlayStation Showcase?
No,
Probably not. Yeah,
I watched what was the summer one that they just did? What was that?
Oh, the Game Awards thing.
That wasn't Game Awards. It was I think it was
Well,
on the it was on the Game Awards YouTube channel. I think.
Yeah, that's the only reason why.
Summer Game Fest or some shit. Summer. Oh, I think it was. Oh God, I nailed it. Summer Game Fest. I'm crazy. Yeah,
Well,
I watched that.
They are remaking Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater like completely from the ground up, and it comes out I think next year.
Hell yeah, that is general consensus the best Metal Gear game.
So this says Metal Gear Solid Volume 1 Master Collection for the PlayStation 5 autumn 2023 is going to have 1, 2 Sons of Liberty and Snake Eater in it. So they're like remaking I think all of them.
Oh, so it's an HD collection type deal?
It says Master Collection, but it
Is
might
that Peacekeeper?
be I don't see Peacekeeper.
Peace Walker?
It just says 1, 2 and 3.
Metal...
But
Peace Walker,
I don't see them releasing it on the PlayStation 5 with like 0 upgrades. Like there's for sure gonna probably be
I'm sure they're
something.
gonna do some sort of like visual graphic
Yeah.
upgrade, but
Audience, if you've never played these, I'm right there with you.
they're
I don't know
so
what they're
great.
talking about.
I don't download
It's-
whatever you need to download. Go buy a PlayStation. Do something.
Well,
you
can
gotta
get,
play the Metal Gear games. They're so good.
You can buy 5 for like $6 right
yeah,
now.
but I don't recommend playing 5 first because you're gonna set your expectation for the other games. 5, like, I don't actually think is very well viewed in the Metal Gear community as
Really?
like well. There's just like I don't know. I recommend the other ones are completely different. It's not open world like 5 is. It's story driven. I guess it's kind of open world, but it's like you can go to the places that you already visited like again, but it's not like your own choose your own adventure. There is a set path. Yeah, I recommend. Just go play it.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard good things about them. I've never touched them.
It's made
Anything
by
that was
Hideo
PlayStation
Kojima.
exclusive.
Hideo Kojima, who made Death Stranding, which a lot of people call the UPS simulator. But
Interesting.
it's a great game. It's got
A lot of
that game's also really fun. It's got
Norman
what's his
Reedus.
name? Yeah.
Norman Reedus.
Who did
Dixon.
Daryl, right? And
Yeah.
Walking Dead. It's got him in
yeah.
it. You deliver packages, but there's a story behind it. It's also good. Just go.
Interesting.
You can go play that.
I've heard
as well.
mixed reviews about that game. I've heard that it was incredibly boring, or if it was really good, like a really good story. I've heard both.
I mean, it's
It's own genre, actually. I think if I remember
Yeah.
right, they created it. It's called. I think the genre is called Stranding. It's a stranding game, and it's like a, it's like a progressive story. It's I don't know how to explain it, but it's if you like story driven like chill games that also are kind of like thriller in a way, I do recommend Death Stranding. I think
Yeah,
you can get
you're-
it pretty
okay.
cheap too.
yeah.
But-
and if you have PlayStation Plus, I think it's on there for free as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Um,
PlayStation games I never really got into. Like
Yeah, it's on
PlayStation
PC. It's on
exclusive
PC
games?
as well. I have it on Steam.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I have it on PC
It's
as well. Actually.
it's like a beautiful game too. Like visually, it's very good.
Yeah.
But
besides that, I have been going back a little bit. I have played. I get this every few years where I want to go and play Skyrim again, so I'm playing that as
hell
well.
no,
Oh my god, you know what you're talking about.
no.
Did you? Whenever it came out, did you not like it?
I just don't. I don't see the appeal in those games. I think they are incredibly boring.
I think you. But if
I'm
it's
glad
not
that we got
Resident Evil,
3 different types of gamers in this.
right?
Skyrim sucks, if I'm being honest.
Honestly, I'm leaving this.
Oh no! Oh no!
I loved Oblivion. I got every achievement on Xbox in Oblivion.
It's
I thought that game was.
It's an upgrade.
I thought that game was great. I think Skyrim's too much.
Okay. Well,
I think
this is also someone that hasn't beaten Red Dead Redemption.
It's also
2
like
yet, so.
aesthetically terrible to watch because everything's fucking snow. Like you're just looking at mountains and snow the whole time.
It depends on where you are. There's forest without any snow.
Game sucks.
I'm just happy to be here.
Okay,
Yeah, I think
It's a fun speed
if
run.
I had a second choice, I think I would probably choose be right there with you, Dan, as far as games that I don't really understand the hype. Because people say that they play it. People that like Skyrim have played it multiple times.
Oh, it's like actively
and I
still
don't-
played.
I don't understand that, but that's because I never got into it. I never played modded Skyrim.
Yeah, there's a bunch
I
of
never
mods and
did
shit though.
anything.
I think that's people's argument is that like the mods make it fun. Like there's whole different storylines that you can play.
Yeah, that might be the same argument for Minecraft, because Minecraft has so many mods. That game is just a walking mod.
Yeah,
That
dude,
thing is insane.
Skyrim on Steam right now, as of midnight, 12:30.
Just below Elden Ring.
It's at
And it's
26,000
12
players.
years old. That just goes to show that you were wrong.
I mean, I get it. I understand. I know people think it's a good game.
No, I honestly
I think
am
it's
glad,
boring as
though.
fuck.
I am glad that we have like 3 different perspectives, because this would be a really dumb podcast if we all had the same exact perspective on
It's like-
every single game.
Yeah.
Only one of
Yeah.
us needs to be here then. But the last game, honestly, I have some gripe with these kind of games, is Jedi Survivor. I just beat it.
Jedi Survivor. Which one
Yeah,
is
you
that?
said that you're playing that.
Is that the new one?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
I stopped playing it. I haven't played it.
I thought you said it crashed on you. Like
Yeah,
you
no,
couldn't
my game's
progress.
soft locked.
That's awesome.
Which anyone that doesn't know, a soft lock, it's common in the speed running thing. I wasn't speed running it, but a soft lock means like I got to a point where the game will not let me progress anymore. It's not like I missed something or anything. Like it's a bug that prevents me from progressing in any way possible. And I tried everything. I tried updating my game, everything else. Uninstalling, reinstalling, nothing fixed it. So I would have to like delete my save and start over again,
thanks.
which I'm not doing. So I'm just
Yikes.
never gonna play that game again.
With games like that, I kind of have a gripe, and it's like unnecessary puzzles in a game drive me absolutely crazy.
You would
like
hate Resident Evil.
Well, no, I played through those, but like when it's a 20-hour game and you have to like solve a puzzle to get through a door just to go into a cutscene, I'm like, what the hell was the point of that at all? It's like you're just trying to add time to the game just to make your game sound longer than it actually is. Like,
Well, I think they want you to feel like you're earning the cutscene. I think they see it as a reward. It's like, congrats, you did this puzzle that we added. Here's a cutscene that explains, the continuing storyline. I think it's supposed to be a good thing.
I mean,
It's interesting that you see it as a.
I
hindrance.
understand it to a point, but it's like whenever in that game, there's a lot of them. I feel like there's always like some secret way to progress, or yeah, I don't know what it is. Like if it's just I understand if there's like a puzzle situation where you're trying to get out of a situation, but whenever it's just to be there for no reason, that to me drives me crazy. Like I don't know what it is, but I thought the game was okay.
I consider myself like a veteran gamer. I there was multiple times in that game where I had no idea where to go.
And that's that's like what I mean. And it's because like you either have to like find this little itty bitty like hole in the wall that you're supposed to crawl through, or it's like I think the map in that game is terrible.
I beat Elden Ring, right?
Or it's
It's a completely open game. Like
yeah.
And it was more intuitive of where to go than Jedi Survivor was, which has a linear story.
Yeah.
Like it's one way to go, one way to beat the game, and I was constantly getting lost. Like I had no like it was just I don't think that in my eyes was like good development, I guess.
Well, and with that, it's like you wouldn't know, but it's like it's hard to progress. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm totally against like a puzzle based game because I love Resident Evil and there's a lot of them in there.
I'm saying it's like misplaced in the game.
When there's no direction of where to go because you have to solve this random puzzle to continue in the game, like that to me just doesn't make any sense. Like you're just confusing the player. It makes the whole game like especially in a story game where it's supposed to flow.
Mhm.
Like you're stopping that flow because someone has to now stop that and then
what are the ratings of Jedi
figure that
Survivor?
out.
I don't. By the way, I saw another game on that list that I would consider. I should just make it like a top 5 worst games. Because I keep thinking of and seeing games that I just absolutely cannot stand, and I will never understand the hype.
What was another one?
PUBG.
I never played that game once.
I hate that game so much. I could never get into it. The movement was clunky. Yeah. The movement was clunky. The shooting was just impossible. You get shot from a random distance because you find a 32 times scope and somebody from across the fucking planet shoots you in the head. You don't know where you got shot from because they have silencers. That game sucks. It sucks. And I suck at it. I will admit that, but that game sucks.
Yeah, I think for me, like, I actually really liked the combat in PUBG. The issue for me in that game was like the netcode, where it's like I feel like I hit this person 30 times. Like I see blood coming out, and it's like they just insta kill me, and then I look at the kill cam and they have like 1 HP or full HP, and it makes no sense to me. That's like my biggest issue. But then like you have people like Shroud that made like their streaming careers off of the game, right? I won't say he made his career off the game, but he stopped competitive play and pursued streaming PUBG.
Right.
So that's why I said
that. I could absolutely see the hype behind it because it takes an incredible amount of skill to be really good at that game. I don't want to put the time into getting that good because I feel like that's that kind of game, like you have to play it every single day. It dedicate hours of your life every single day. And that just for me, it was just too clunky to enjoy. That's just me. I know obviously that's not a very widely, popular.
I don't think anyone would disagree with you that it's a clunky game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's number 3 on the list, I think.
Yeah, but I think the main player base of PUBG is in China, if I remember right.
Oh, interesting.
It's like 80% of players or something like that are in China.
Wow, that's interesting.
That could have been a fake Twitter statistic, but that's what I seen. Like last year or something like
possible. That. It's possible, yeah. But yeah, PUBG was, I just didn't enjoy that game at all. Anyways, what were we talking about? What were you saying, Tyler?
We were done with my segment.
Yeah, I think we're wrapping up. To be honest, it's been
okay.
We're 1 minute short of it being 2 hours.
See, I knew that. I told you we could do it.
Oh wow, yeah, you.
I mean, I could keep going, but I don't think we should.
I said the original time that I said was 2 hours. It's kind of
crazy, I said
actually.
Like 30, 45 minutes, but
wow. Yeah, I thought it was gonna last.
You
for
said
at least
30 minutes. That would have been one person talking for one section.
Me alone, who took up 60 or 80% of this podcast. But no, yeah. So that's pretty much it. We're wrapping up. I don't know what we're gonna post this on. I think Spotify and YouTube.
Maybe iTunes. What was it, Brett? iTunes.
iTunes. I said it was iTunes.
Pick up
Which
our
apparently
tape.
audience. apparently
We'll put
audience,
it on there if
iTunes,
you can find it. Congrats.
Yeah, I mean iTunes isn't a thing anymore, so that was news to me.
Or
I
it might
didn't know
be. I
that.
think it's still. I think the application still exists. I just don't. You don't need it for like Apple products anymore. I think you.
Well,
I mean,
I
I
have
have
it on
an
my
Android.
computer.
I don't
Okay,
know.
iTunes
Yeah.
is still a thing.
Yeah, I have it on my computer still, and it still gets updates. But I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
don't.
why
I think you
I
can still
assumed
buy like
iTunes.
music and stuff off of it, but I don't. I don't know if it's like a.
I'm over here making fun of Brett, and it's still a thing.
But like
Yeah,
Apple
what the
has
heck,
its
man?
Apple has its own like podcast app. Like it's just called podcast, and then there's also like you just go to the Apple store. It's not iTunes store.
Huh.
Maybe they just moved away from the word. I don't. It doesn't fucking matter. Regardless.
I just thought
It-
iTunes was done.
Yeah,
Spotify, YouTube, i- like I guess I don't know or don't dislike.
Or don't. Just click that. Well,
Yeah.
you can't even see dislikes, so it doesn't even matter.
I think there's an
That's
extension
true.
to see dislikes.
Oh shit. Well, don't do that then.
But
don't do it. Like, tell your
Alright.
friends.
goodbye.
Thank you for watching and listening.
Daniel's wave.
See ya.